We just wanted to be able to kind of gather with our team here and talk about something that we feel is really a crucial part of any type of a custom project. So I kind of call it the three-legged stool. Anytime you have one of those legs missing, the stool's wobbly. But that's an architect, a interior designer, and a builder. And those three components create kind of the secret sauce or magic in the project, where every one of these professionals are all doing what they do best, what they've done with training, and what they do for a profession every single day, versus some other builders that try to do some of the parts themselves and probably do a pretty good job. I did that myself for many years, where I took clients on field trips, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And the level of detail that the architects are able to bring to a project, and the level of detail that the interior designers are able to bring and meld everything together, just creates the best possible setup for the builder to then take it and actually execute. If you take one of these legs out, it could still work, just not as beautifully as this does. So that's why we're here today. We've got Capri Architecture, and we've got Amy Troute Designs, right?
Amy Troute Inspired Interiors.
Inspired Interiors.
Say that again.
Amy Troute Inspired Interiors. Check mark.
I feel like it's a good moment, though, as a confusing foursome to mention, like, one leg.
We are one.
Yeah.
Yes,
So there's four people, but there's only three legs.
Yes.
So
It's a
Dustin
very,
and
very
I
sturdy
constitute
Dustin's
Capri
the
Architecture.
seat, actually.
Yeah,
Dustin's
yeah.
the seat.
There you go.
And Amanda's one of the legs, and
There
Mike
you
and
go.
I are like,
Like,
Exactly.
fused together
works,
yeah.
as the architecture component of the three-legged stool.
And I think it's important, like, let's just segue into you guys and how you guys work, and, what you do inside Capri Architecture, because you both have, you can both do all of it, but yet you have kind of defining roles that really works well. So why don't you guys take it away?
Yeah, so Amanda and I started our firm in 2014, and really quickly we realized like our different strengths. And so like Amanda she really focuses on a lot of the nuts and bolts, the drawings. I'm really heavily involved in construction, and then also the communication, and then also a lot on like the front end. So the land use processes, which we all know are like an absolute nightmare with pretty much every single project, where you're just going through like endless processes to try to get permits in place. And then you're like all day long.
We always joke that I just draw lines all day. I would have nothing to do without the Dustin half going out and being really a very personally available and entertaining and charismatic face to Capri Architecture. But without me sitting in the office, like hacking away and drawing many lines, nothing would get done. So without either of us, nothing.
Yeah.
One thing, like with the three-legged stool, one thing I really like about this process is our clients, and I think like historically, it's always been this way where, someone goes, oh, I need an architect. They hire an architect. And then there's been this like perception of like, well, we wait to get the builder involved until later. Because there's a concept of like, oh, well, we want to get the most value. And so we're going to get multiple bids from a lot of different contractors, and then we're going to pick. And so we want to get through this like whole process with you and the interior designer before we even talk to a builder. And that's been a really interesting process that Amanda and I have really had through our whole firm's existence, is trying to get builders involved sooner. And a lot of clients have like trepidation about that at first, but then if you think about like the actual value you get from that process, and most of our clients always understand that from the very beginning. I can say, hey, I can show like a conceptual design to a builder. He can right away start picking out constructibility issues. Like, are there better ways? I mean, how often do I text you and say, hey, Mike, like, what's the price of TGIs versus floor joists right now? Like, what should we do for floor structure?
Yeah.
And as we're laying those out, you can get that information so much earlier. Or you can find out like, hey, we're way off base. We're too big, foundation's too complicated. And then our clients have the opportunity, when the project hasn't gone through permitting, it hasn't been bid out, like the drawings aren't 100% done.
You're not committed to even the shape yet.
Yeah, we can
make
pull back
adjustments really early
and adjust the design. And by the time you're actually pricing something, it's got to be like, we're within what, 5%? at that point because you were involved in the very beginning. So that, that process has been huge, I think, for our clients and for us just to be set up for success, because we don't want to design buildings and then have them not get built. That's like our biggest nightmare. It's a waste of creative energy. If we're going to like pour our heart into something, we want to see it happen. We want to see it come to life.
I think it's a great point, because we've been working together for several years now, and we've only had one job not go forward, and it's because they had a family tragedy and they decided to move back east or back Midwest or something like that. They were ready to move forward, but just their life didn't work. So I think that's really important, and a differentiating factor that Capri Architecture brings is that you're very transparent and upfront about expectations, so that when people come to you and say, well, I've got a $1 million budget or $2 million, whatever it is, and then they start talking, and it's like, well, pretty soon that you have the back of your head, you have an idea of what things cost, and it's like, we're kind of getting out of the zone here, so we need to kind of reel it back in, so that this is actually doable, and you don't find out several tens of thousands of dollars later, and lots of time, that we can reel it back quickly, or they could just move on.
Yeah.
Right.
Before we even like hire, or before someone hires us to design, I would say, hey, let's put together a draft program for you. And that's always a process. Like, oh, does it cost anything? I'm like, no, we love doing it for free. And so we talk to them about like the spaces that they want in their house, and you put it together. And I always do like parenthetically, here's a 10 by 10 room or a 12 by 12 room. Here's overall square footage. And then I send it over to them, and it's usually not. Most people call us and they're like, well, I want a 2,000 square foot house.
No, everything's 2,500.
Yeah.
And I blame HGTV for this.
Yes.
Everything is always 2,500.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
But then they're like, well,
The
we
sweet
want
spot.
4 bedrooms and an entertainment room, a living room, a kitchen.
Home
Like,
office.
we have a little bit of a math problem here. And so because of like those programs right away, like before we've even put together a proposal for someone, we've already set up that expectation of like, hey, either we need to remove some of these items to get down to the square footage you want, or we need to change the square footage. Because at the end of the day, like, it's a math problem that doesn't add up.
Right.
You're educating and you're helping them prioritize and really understand, like, no. What are your priorities? Because if this is all your priorities, then this is not going to be your budget.
Yeah.
And we can just know that right out of the gate. So they can pull all the way back and go, okay, well, we need 2 more years of savings to get the house we want, because this is what we want.
Right.
But you're there to educate.
Or just a great opportunity for creativity for either us or for you on the interior side to like, where can we combine these things?
have you thought
what
about-
spaces can be dual? What spaces don't need their own defined boundaries and can just be an alcove or something completely undefined?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys are working with a builder. You're working on the programming. You're working on the initial drawings. We're kind of collaborating back and forth. A lot more heavy on your side than my side. I'm just kind of brought in a little bit for bits and pieces. But then kind of the next phase is really bringing in Amy and your team to be able to start understanding the vision architecturally and the constraints that the lot might have. So the constraints that the subdivision might have on exterior colors or finishes. Some of the places that we build in are very rigid on what you can put on the exterior. So for example, the Capes in Oceanside, it's all cedar shake and it's all white trim, period. Every house looks exactly
All
the same.
5 inches to the weather.
Exactly.
Not 6.
Exactly.
And I love that because we know what to do.
It's
There's
consistent.
no questions when you put a proposal through for the HOA. It's like, we followed all the rules.
Check,
Right.
check.
We're good. It's
pretty simple.
No question.
What's kind of cool about that, though, is that if you want to create something really unique, and the last project we did in the Capes was extremely unique, it just gives architectural freedom to then have to be a lot more creative on the architecture side, because what you're cladding it with is kind of, I guess, vanilla. It looks like everybody else's. So the architecture really has to shine, whether it's windows or the shape or cantilevers, those kinds of things. But one of the important things is we understand all those barriers or the things, the parameters we have to stay in. And then Amy and your team, you come in and you're able to kind of see the vision, and then you're able to listen to the client, what their vision, what they want the inside to look like, how they want to use it, how they want to feel, what kind of moments they want to experience in different times of the year or whatever parts of their life. So kind of go through your process and how you start integrating into like this, this team.
I
how
just
did that started?
I get asked all the time, what's the best time to introduce you to the project? And for me, it's immediately. It's right when the conversation gets started. Because what the client is saying in terms of their vision or in terms of how they want the house to feel, who they are as a family, how they're going to use it, all of those things are going to build on each other. And while you guys are establishing the envelope of the house, while you're establishing the massing, and while we're talking about these rooms and brainstorming on all of that, if I can hear that from the very beginning, it's really going to inform a lot of the decisions that I make on the inside of the house. And we've already had these great collaborations of how do we want to use that bonus space upstairs? Like, who's up there? How are they living up in that space? And you guys came with just wonderful ideas, and everything was already kind of thought out in a way. But I'm able to ask a different set of questions that gets us to a different place. And everybody goes, oh, okay, how come the client didn't tell us that?
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like there are very designated lanes for the architect and a designated lane for the builder and a designated lane for the interior designer. But if we're not all there headed in the same direction, that's when things start to go awry. And I feel like there's a history of bad blood between interior designers and builders and architects. And I have run up against that my whole career, and my goal has always been be not that for the architects, be different, be better for the builder, be the glue that holds it all together, instead of somebody who is just pulling teeth out and making everybody, having pain. So honestly, all of that initial conversation, I don't claim to know what you know. I can't know what you know, but I certainly do have over 20 years doing what I know, and bringing that into this mix, I think is valuable from the very beginning.
Well, and you're actually collaborative too. It's funny, like collaboration, people are always like, oh, we're collaborative. And a lot of people say they're collaborative, but they actually aren't. The minute you like propose something else, they're like,
no.
Staying out.
Right. Well, and you're collaborative too. And again, there are bad rap out there for architects. There's bad rap for designers and bad rap for builders.
Yeah.
And I think we have a shared goal, and that is to help the client build a beautiful home.
Yeah.
It's not that you're out there to get your name out there or vice versa. Like, I don't care what you want. I could build a house all day, and so could you. I want to build your house. I want to pull out of the client their vision and their values and their priorities just as much as you guys do. But I'm going to ask a different set of questions. And I think it just creates this really well-rounded, from the very beginning, path that we all can go down in the same direction.
I think that's a super important difference, though, between building a great house that maybe we conceived of, or you saw a case study and wanted to, and like, that may not be their house.
Right.
I had a professor in college that said, put that in your back pocket. It's a great idea. Maybe I think it's the best thing for the site, and taking it out breaks my heart a little bit, but it's not my house.
Right. Sure.
And the goal is not for me to build the thing that I think is the most amazing, hand it off and have someone live there and be depressed.
Right.
That idea just doesn't belong there. So you just put it in your back pocket.
That's the same
They'll be
thing
right
with
for
the
something
clients.
someday.
They're gonna have their ideas,
Yeah.
and we're gonna hear them, and we're gonna chew on them and bounce them around and go, well, because they want this and they want this, what if we propose this?
Yeah.
That's our job. We know so much more than the client knows, even if they've built 3 or 4 houses. Chances are, if they've built 3 or 4 houses, they're coming to us with stuff that we would never do, especially in the way that we're gonna do it, right? So we'll be able to say, here's the question, here's the answer, here's a solution, and maybe here's B solution and C solution. But it's our job to help them by saying, because you've said, and because this is the lot, and because this is your budget, and because this is the overall goal of this space or the whole house as a whole, here's what we think is going to be best. And they have hired us because we can bring that answer to the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have the knowledge of experience, have the knowledge of conversation with the client, and so it's the right answer. And
Well, that's the whole point of custom homes, right? At the end of the day, we'll present things to clients. We had an appellate attorney that we did a project for named Donna, and Donna's like still a friend of ours today. And Donna, we presented the design to her, and she goes, "I like this. I think that'll work." And I'm like, I'm like, Donna,
work?
That'll work. She's like,
Broken
that'll
my
work.
heart,
That'll
Donna.
work doesn't work. I was like,
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I was like,
Right,
you gotta
yeah.
tell us. I was like, this is a custom home. Like, don't build it. We gotta make it. It's something you truly, truly love. Yeah. And so we made a bunch of revisions. And she has a great like dry sense of humor. And so we presented like this second or third or fourth iteration, whatever it was. And she looked at it and she's like, all right, I love it. There, you happy? And I'm like, yes.
Now
I'm happy
Finally.
now. Like, gosh.
One of the things I think is important to talk about today is kind of how the genesis of how we met and how this kind of team, this three-legged stool was created. So I kind of wanted to go back and discuss, how we met, and then how we realized that we really only had two legs of a stool, and we really needed that third leg, and we were looking for somebody that could really fit our team, and who wasn't ego first, but was collaborative over competitive. Competitive meaning I want to have control, I want to have control, I want to have control, but no, it's like we need to have cohesiveness so that we can be able to present things to the client that are unified. So when I met the Capris, I kind of wanted to turn back time a little bit. So when we met the Capris, it was a client that you had, and they requested that I be part of the project as just an estimate. But you guys had already were thinking about working with another builder, and had recommended that. You'd never even heard of me.
No, someone from the Valley. We were nervous.
Yeah,
We're like,
yeah.
oh man,
What do Valley
builder.
guys know, right? And
A lot.
yes, yes. And so anyways, I was brought into that project and presented, kind of an estimate of what we were going to do. And I presented it to you guys. I mean, we were at Salishan, and I opened up the thing, and I was going through page by page. And I think that left an impression that I'm organized and
100%. It was so professional. I remember like instantly, I was like, oh my gosh, like he's got like a binder with every single estimate included in here, broken down by section.
I feel like he made it in InDesign.
It was beautiful.
I didn't, but but anyways, I didn't get that job, and I was kind of heartbroken because I had known the owner, and they picked the other guy, which was hard. And then I got a call. I don't know how long ago it was, or how long after that, but it was, hey, Mike, this is Dustin and Amanda, and we have a client in Escalon that we really would like you to talk with.
Yeah.
And that kind of just started this collaborative experience between the two of us. But you guys were in charge of all the architecture. I was in charge of the building, but then I was also the one who was taking all the clients on field trips and asking a lot of okay, what color are we gonna do? And you guys worked with some of that stuff and really helped with a lot of that stuff. But we were kind of just two-legging it, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
And we finished that project, and it turned out great, and we've had other projects since then. But we started to introduce, trying to find an interior designer that would work well with us, and kind of had a bad experience.
Yeah,
right?
a couple of them.
Couple bad experiences with some interior designers that really were not. It was more about them. They weren't like-minded. It was about them and their concept, and they wanted to be the show.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I've been meeting with different interior designers, trying to find somebody that I feel like would be a good fit. And I met with Amy. And I think you guys said, oh yeah, I saw her on Instagram or something like that. And so there was some kind of a connection. And I said, hey, I just met with her, and I think she was awesome.
This was right on the heels of like the other interior designers not working out that well. And I'm like, really, Mike?
And I think what Mike said was, Capri has said no more designers.
Yeah,
Under no uncertain terms will there be more designers.
Yeah.
Keep fighting, it keeps not going well.
Yeah, you
Come
threw
on.
up your hands, and I said, okay, fine. I have another project that I'm going to pay her out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
And just to prove to you that she can actually do it.
Yeah.
And that project's been going very well. Finally got you guys to say, okay, we'll talk about
do
it.
it.
I think
You
I
better.
just wanted you to keep going on field trips.
Yeah.
You're so good at them.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but it just limits what the client can actually experience for service and style and cohesiveness. And so Amy's been we're working on 3 projects together right now, I think it is. And it's just been wonderful. It's been wonderful to be able to lean on Amy for this component. It's been wonderful for you guys to just focus on what you love to focus on.
Right.
And for me to be able to know that okay, I've got a cohesive plan to where when we're partway through, we don't have to like call an audible at the line that just delays everything, and it puts pressure on the clients, and it adds more stress to an already stressful project. And that pre-planning, that cohesiveness from the very beginning just sets the project up for such, I think, success that is achievable only when you really have a good team.
Or I mean, early in our career, we thought we could do it all. That was our goal. We were like, we're gonna do architecture and interiors. Like we can do a whole house, sure. Like we'll do it ourselves. And really quickly over the years, and it's been like, I say really quickly, it actually took us a while to like slowly realize like, okay, I can't keep up with the market. The interior market is insane with
Dynamic and ever changing.
It's like tile, like we like had like our little stash of like interior materials that we'd show clients, and then like I'd call and they're like, oh, that was discontinued a year and a half ago, and I'm like,
Are you gonna do that again, Dustin? Is that your signature style? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
This is the Capri.
The one tile we spec.
Right,
That
they do
tile is
this one
actually the
tile.
perfect example because I quite frankly am overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think there's just too many millions of options. And so what I will care about from an architectural perspective is that this wall is an accent and it needs texture. Something with veining, something more rectilinear.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so send me the spec. I'm like, well, I've said everything that I know. I have exhausted my knowledge. Out, go. But it wasn't the right fit for you either.
Sure.
So we needed an Amy. We needed someone who could hear me babble in that vague way and be like, I know the exact place to look. Here are 12 options for the client. Everything's smoother because everyone knows what they're good at and who to call. When someone asks me a question, I don't know the answer, I know exactly where to go and find it or to direct them to the right place where you can
I
help.
think the key for us, and I think what Mike heard when we met and as we've started these conversations and these projects, is this respect. Right? It is no ego. There's no ego from your end. You don't have one. I don't either. I remember the first time we were going to have a plan review and I got your initial set and I immediately kind of had some thoughts and some ideas, and I called Mike and I said, yikes, I have some ideas. Are they going to be okay to hear it?
Ideas are great.
And he's like, yeah. This is the three of us. We're not, it's not a hierarchy. We're all on this together. And it made me feel like it kind of calmed me down. And I thought, okay, I've been doing this a really long time. I know they've been doing this a really long time. I think we can all throw ideas out. And we did it in front of the client. The first time we had an opportunity, it was everybody on deck. And it was not uncomfortable for anybody. There was no, what?
You know what's our favorite part about that call? Is that so the clients wanted a like office right off their front door.
One of the bedrooms was going to be available immediately
From the
front
formal
door,
entryway.
so that they could use it in a more business setting.
And so
if they
as we're
needed
going
to.
through, Amy brings that up of like, hey, this is a little like awkward. And Amanda and I sort of like poke each other under the table of like, hey, see, it is awkward. Like we had talked about that exact same thing with the clients, but they're like, well, this is what we want. I'm like, okay, it's a custom house. Like you get your access into that bedroom right from the front. But
And
the fact
as
that you
someone
called
with-
that out, I was like, dude, she understands.
I had sat with I printed it out, I vellum papered over the top, and I sketched a different route into that bedroom.
Right.
Reconfigured the bathroom. I mean, I have that
Absolutely.
much experience to be able to say, if I'm going to suggest an edit, I have a maybe workaround for it. I don't have all the answers, but I have certainly given it some thought in order to then come up with a suggestion.
That you just said, though, is my favorite part about this team. Is because with a lot of partnerships, there's people who will just bring a problem. And I don't think there's a single person who if they bring a problem on this three-legged stool, they won't also have 3 ideas for how to fix it.
Right.
Depending on how the conversation goes.
That we can work together to see those are great ideas or
And
not.
it just makes the stress so much less as the people working together, and also for the client. They're not sitting there watching the people who they're paying saying, wait, so we have a giant problem and no way to fix it. There's never the question of there's no way to fix it. It's how
are we
these
gonna do
options
this?
that we've already discussed, what are we doing?
Absolutely.
And that's from
so
the
beautiful.
beginning. Like
for
there
sure.
isn't, I don't have to be the bad guy. When I'm brought in 6-8 months into the process and you guys already have everything pretty much ironed out and the client has said all the things already that I need to hear, then I'm a burden. I'm a
Suddenly it's
burden.
like
I'm
extra
coming in.
work or
Yes,
something like, oh,
why
now
is
we have
she
to change
here?
something.
Why
Yeah,
is she here
yeah.
asking me the questions that I've already
Right.
answered?
Repeating themselves.
Right, exactly. So again, and that's when the designer gets the bad name for throwing a monkey wrench into an already running engine. You know, like I don't want to be that.
Right.
And there will always be something. Something will always come up where you're like, wow, that's really too bad that we didn't catch that really early on. Even if I'm there from the beginning, there's going to be that situation that comes up.
Sure.
But when we have our strong stool and we know how to interact with each other and how to communicate with each other, and there isn't fear,
Yeah.
you know, from any of us to bring up a question or to come at something with a different solution. I want to be that comfortable in this in every project. I don't want to work in projects where it's going to be difficult. And if the client comes to me and says, you know, I know the Capris are really excited about that one feature, but the more we talk about it behind the scenes, the more uncomfortable we are with it. And we're wondering if there's a different way around it. But they don't feel like asking you because they know you're excited about it.
Yeah.
Please, I mean, I can't tell you how many times the client has felt like they could come to me and not felt like they could ask the builder or the architect.
Yeah.
And that doesn't say anything about you as bad architect or builder. I have that relationship with the client.
Sure.
And I pride myself on that. I come from a communications degree. Like that's my thing is communications.
Yeah.
And if I can make that easier for the client to bring a question to the table or to have a concern and air it with me, and maybe it never even gets back to you guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I was able to say, hey, you know, let's get together. This came up.
They have a question on this.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to
exactly.
hear it. And I don't have to wear armor into that meeting and feel like I can't say what's.
And that's
what's
why
happening.
I like communication. I CC you, both of you,
Yes.
on everything. And a lot of
Love it.
stuff is something that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Like, but I always want you guys to like have that background because for Amanda and I, like when we're starting a project, there's usually like, especially on the coast, it's geology plays like a huge role. So automatically we have some like weird setback or some complicated foundation we have to accommodate. And then right after that, we have like HOA rules, county rules with setbacks, building heights, lot coverage, all these other things. And so I always include everyone on it. And they're like, do I really need to read these? And it's like, you can or don't have to if you don't want to, but I know you two are going to look at it and at least like, if a thought process comes up like, oh, well, why don't we make this higher? Or why don't we push this further out? The view would be better. I'm like, the view would be better. The y'all just won't let us.
Right.
You know, there's
Yeah,
always this like background that you get through that open communication throughout the whole process.
Yeah, and it's critical because it's especially when we're starting from the very beginning and we're getting those emails. Some of it, like you said, is not. Maybe it has to do with geology, and Amy's just like, yeah, cool. Sounds great. But at least she knows. And one of the things that it does for our clients is that allows them to be able to feel at peace that our team is being as efficient as possible so they don't have to repeat themselves or we don't have to revisit something that they've already talked about with you guys or with me. So we're all on that same team. And I think that client experience is they're spending a lot of money. They don't want to be inefficient. Yeah. So it kind of brings me to the next is a good segue into one of the reasons why I kind of, came up with the three-legged stool. I'm sure I didn't come up with it, but it's just the picture that kind of came up with me. And it's really about who the clients come to first. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the clients are coming to an interior designer first. Maybe they have a relationship, it's somebody you know, they've seen you on Instagram, they start with you first. Or maybe it's me, and they start with me first, or they start with you first. Mm-hmm. And it's so critical that immediately we are all looped in. And Amy may not be the best fit for every project. I might not be the best fit for every project. You guys might not be the best fit. So it's super critical. I know that's
I am always going to be the best fit.
and we all feel the same way. But like you guys have jobs in Yachats that would be really cool, but I can't make Yachats work for how far it is away from somebody.
Yeah.
So we may not be the best fit for that.
Far.
But I think it's so critical to know to have that camaraderie and that team mentality that I'm going to call Mike, I'm going to call Dustin and Amanda, and we're going to get together and we're going to essentially present something to the clients that we're all at the very beginning, we're all part of this whole process. And so that's why I'd when trying to create these relationships is to provide a referral stream, right? Yeah. So you guys are bringing projects to me, I'm bringing projects to you, and we're all doing that for each other. And it's collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
It's just it's a good mix.
And the more we do this together, the easier that's going to be for all of us. You know, this is fairly new.
Yeah.
But what we do is not. How we've done it before is not new. The experiences you've had before, bad experiences. You know how you don't want this to go.
Yeah.
But now the goal is absolutely to make this, to refine the process and create comfort where there was discomfort before.
Yeah.
And that's always been my goal. It's my goal with a client who just wants new bedroom furniture.
Yeah.
It's my goal with an entire new construction process. It is to help the client feel at ease, because the comments that I always get are, this is going to be hell. Like, this could strain our marriage going through this process. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
There's no reason it should strain your marriage. All we're doing is asking a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is answer honestly.
Yeah.
And if we don't have the right answer, or we're not asking the right question, we're not presenting the right information, your feedback is going to help so we can give you the right information. And that's this process. It is if then, right? You have your list of if thens.
Yeah.
Structure and lot and constraints of HOAs. You have your constraints with materials and how that all comes together. I have constraints with sometimes budget. Sometimes you're saying, no, we can't put that kind of cladding on this surface, and here's why.
Yeah.
But it's all a process of if then. And if we're all working together toward the same goal, the client is in great hands from the very beginning to the very end.
Absolutely.
It's such a time-consuming process too. Like I think most of our clients, by the time their house breaks ground, they're like, wow, it was a lot of work to get here.
Yeah.
And the challenge for us, if we're the first person, or if you're the first person that a client reaches out to, most people do this once. They don't do it many times in their life. So they are kind of new to the process. And so you have to like slow roll explain, like, there's a long process. Like, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to design. It takes time to get through permitting. It takes time to get through land use processes. And so by the time excavation actually starts, like, you've developed this relationship with someone for years, or a year or 6 months, or however long it takes to get through that process. I always tell clients, like, taking more time is better. Sometimes people like have this challenge of, they're like, how quickly can you do drawings? I was like, fast. Like, we could get a permit set together in a month or two. I don't ever recommend that. I was like, you need to sit there.
They might be garbage if it's too fast.
Yeah, sit there and take
It
time
won't
with
be
it.
your house.
Yeah, make sure
It
you
won't
know
be
what
right
you want.
yet. It won't be right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so taking that time to like work through that process is something that is hard, I think, to convey at the start of a project, because a lot of people assume like, oh, well, I'm going to go buy plans. I can buy this for $1,000 online. I'm like, I'm sure you can. But like, what do you get from that? And construction cost is what it is, regardless of whether you spend $1,000 on plans or more a substantial investment, but you're still paying, for the most part, what you'd be paying otherwise. Sure.
Yeah, I think one of the important things that I wanted to talk about is how we kind of do the things that we do contractually, right? So if we're going to have this three-legged stool, we're going to be working together, you would think that there might be just one person just does it all in terms of the billing, or does the contract or whatever. But the way that we do things, I think, is relatively unique. And I think we should talk about why we do the things that we do. So why do you guys have a contract with your clients to do the architecture? I have a contract, a temporary contract, to kind of do the initial phase of budgeting and what I call feasibility. And then you guys have it kind of an initial phase for doing the interior design part. And then we move into the more final stage. Your guys is a little more all-encompassing. But then once I do all the pricing, I'm pricing at the house as a new contract, and then you're having a new contract. So why do we do that instead of having just you guys run everything, or me run everything, or you run everything? Why do we have separate ones? What's the benefit for our clients?
I mean, I think for us, I always write our contracts in a way that I don't want a client to ever feel like they're committed to Amanda and I. So we bill out, by phase. We break down our contracts by design phase, construction document phase, and then construction observation phase. So like 3 simple phases, but we'll chip away at that design phase. And then at points in people's life, things change. We've had clients that like, they've had medical emergencies where they're like, hey, we're going to put our project on pause. They've had job shifts where they go, hey, we need to like shelf this for 6 months. And we've never operated our business on like a tough sell perspective. So, when people call us, like, of course, we're disappointed if they need to put their project on pause for one reason or another. But I always want them to have that flexibility, to not feel like they're like tied in. And it's written right into our contracts, basically. Like, we, of course, want to be compensated for the work we've done thus far. But like, anytime you call and say, hey, we're going to put a pause on this, like, great. Like, look forward to picking it up, hopefully in the future.
Sure.
And that's always been our approach, just contractually. I don't want people to feel like they're stuck with us.
No one makes good decisions when they feel trapped.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
most flexibility they have, and it again speaks to this is going to be a strain. This is going to be hard. This is going to be stressful. So as much flexibility and things we can take off of their plates as early as possible to ease that, the better.
Yeah. And I do a very similar thing. I have an initial phase, like I'd mentioned before, where I don't want clients to feel like they have to prick their finger and sign in blood for perpetuity of the entire project, right? If it's kind of like the dating phase almost, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we think you're the right fit. We really believe that you're right fit, but let's dive in and make sure that we're the right fit after phase one. And after phase one, or the initial phase, whatever you want to call it, if we're not a good fit, there is a solution to pivot and go a different direction, whether it's a different builder, a different interior designer, different architect, whatever. And I think that's a very similar mentality that you guys have, our philosophy. And the second phase is we've decided we're a good match. We're not dating anymore. We're gonna be a lot more.
You already went on a road trip together, and you know you can decide on a restaurant.
We're gonna go steady.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, old school term. We're gonna go steady.
works.
Yeah, we're gonna. I don't know.
I'm gonna put a ring on it.
Right? Yeah, put a ring on it. Yeah. You have to bring Beyonce into the conversation. So
He's always relevant.
yeah. So how do you kind of structure your contracts?
So two things. One, I feel like I like to be able to say to the client, we're not the same thing.
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
three separate entities we're choosing to do this together.
Yeah.
That I think makes a ton of difference just in a client saying, wow, I guess I do have a choice. Like I don't have to have these three, but they are choosing to come to me because they know how to do this together really well. And I think that is a huge part of the confidence that we would have as independent business owners to come to the table as a team. I structure my conversations, my contracts, all inclusively. I come at it like, let's look at the whole thing. And then I take a retainer on the top of the project and everything is tracked hourly. So at any time there is exit. There's no problem with exit if something comes up and the project doesn't continue forward. It's never happened to me before where somebody doesn't want to continue the project with me. But no, I think we are here to make it easier for the clients. They don't know what we know.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, to be able to, we do get that question, gosh, so I have to write 3 checks?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want you to be stoked
Yeah.
to write
you don't have
all
to.
3 checks.
You get to,
write those
You
3
get to write
checks.
3 checks.
The thing that I think is so helpful if I'm the client is I have 3 people going to bat for me.
Yes.
Their contract's not with each other.
Yep.
Like if Amanda gets this idea that she thinks is amazing and like someone needs to rein her in, like I call these 2, or if Amy finds this tile and I don't like it, but someone needs to rein Amy in, or Mike is really convinced that this would be better and someone needs to rein Mike in. Like we all are sometimes the problem.
Right.
And the client has 3 different entities
Advocates.
who are
Advocates.
only on their side.
Absolutely.
Like we're not teaming up.
Yeah, there's no conflict.
We're
of
just
interest.
working together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how often you and I have calls back and forth where you're being like, you'll be like, hey, that's super expensive. Like, we can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's do that instead. Or, vice versa. Like, we'll rein each other sort of in, being like, hey, well, that's not in the budget.
We do it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, all the time. All the time. And I think you even are coming to me and asking questions about, okay, well, what if I choose to do this vertically versus horizontally? Is there any price difference? And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. It kind of depends on the, and you guys have a lot of experience. You can answer a lot of your own questions, but I'm able to look at it from this specific project and know this is going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem. Here's a solution. Here's another idea. And you may say, that's a terrible idea. I'm sticking with this one. I'd be like, cool. You sell it, right?
The experience that you come with and I come with are very different experiences.
Oh, yeah.
And the vendor relationships and I've used this product before with great success, or this has been a total disaster. Let's please not do it. Let's look at alternatives. And why? You know, it informs all of us. We're educating each other because no two projects are the same, and we aren't building somebody's house again. We're building your house this time.
Right.
And it's going to be, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be different opportunities to use different products. There's going to be new things. Like you said, there's new tile today that I didn't have the option to use yesterday. And maybe that cladding that we've been so reluctant to introduce to some of these lower budget projects is now able to be used because it's been done in a different way.
Yeah.
So I can do this all day, but I don't want to work by myself. And I have a team and there's stuff happening behind the scenes, but I'm expected to have the big ideas and the brilliant creativity. What if I'm not coming up with it? You know, I love to be able to reach out and go, hey, what do you guys think of this? Have you used this kind of project? Who do you know that can make this better for everybody? And let's look into that, you know, because it's changing so fast.
Yeah.
And we can rely on 20 years of experience all day long.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't matter.
And I think it's critical because of having that team aspect, because we all have different experiences. We have different things that we like to do outside of work that are still part of work. So like every morning is part of my routine is I'm watching Instagram. Not gonna lie, I spend too much time on Instagram and I follow a lot of the, you know, really cool builders and interior designers that are different parts of the country because they just, things that happen in the East Coast and the Midwest and they're just different styles and than you see over here in the West Coast. And it's just fun to get ideas. I really, really love it. And then I'm able to say, sometimes I'm sending stuff to you or I'm sending stuff to you. And like, I just sent you something that was from like Vietnam, but it was this, you know, the wire mesh, like a box that you would fill up with rocks and that kind of creates a retaining wall. But this was on the beach or ocean or something like that. And they actually did the rocks to where the things looked like waves. And I'm like, that's as simple as Dennis said, but it's amazing, right?
Cool,
and so we collaborate and we share those kind of cool ideas. But so we talked a lot about what we do and how we do things. Let's talk about who's the ideal client. When we have somebody come to us, and we've had a lot of ideal clients. We really have.
Yeah, we have.
So what in your guys' mind, so be thinking, but in your guys' mind, give me your top 2 or 3 things that make an ideal. And if you can have more, that's cool. But that makes an ideal client. Like these are the kind of people we just like, thank you, Jesus, for bringing this person to us. Like, what does that look like for you guys?
I think for me, like stylistically, it's always like a fascinating problem for us because people go and they're like, oh, I really like your style. And I sort of like chuckle. I'm like, okay. Like we literally do everything.
Yes.
Like we'll do like
have a style.
The most contemporary houses and the most traditional houses. So I always am like, okay. And they're like, well, your recent work. And then I like laugh again because I'm like, well, like by the time something's furnished, landscaped, and photographed, and from when we designed it.
I drew those lines 6 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I think someone that like we really take care in understanding our clients. And so like by the time we presented something, we argue, and it's a nice argument, but it is an argument for weeks over different ideas. And we'll leave the office and be like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And then in the morning we'll go back and be like, oh, it's not right for them. And so we really take that care to design a house for them. And then so ideal client, someone that sees that and like understands it's maybe different than what they had envisioned, but they can see like, oh wait, we said this, and this, and they did it. And you know, if they get like kind of the bigger vision, I think that's always something that just like lights up our heart in the inside because it's it doesn't always work out that way. Most of the time, especially when we're like pushing a limit, we did this recently with a project where we're like, we have to pause before we even present the design. We'll do like diagrams of why what we talked about first doesn't work. And it's funny, like we do our like interview process with our clients when we first start before we've really drawn anything.
Where we just spend 3 hours asking them a million questions, which the same kind of thing you do, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely.
With like, where does your Christmas tree go? What kind of, like when you cook, do you mise en place here and then, or do you do it all in a skillet? Like all the tiny details. And sometimes people are like,
no preference.
Why do you need
No
to
comment.
know what kind of drawers I want in my closet? It's like,
But we'll
Because later,
present-
Dustin and I are going to become you and argue with each other based on what you said.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we'll present an idea to them, and then like if it's during the, like we're sketching as we're talking to them, we're like, oh, I think we know what it's going to be. And usually by the time we present something, it's like completely different than what we had talked about with our clients before. And so we'll get like trepidation always, like when you're presenting design phase version 1, I'm like, oh gosh, I hope they like this because we changed a lot, but it's much, much better.
So I think in that way, an ideal client is someone who comes in with an open mind. Because I think everyone has images in their mind when they think about building a home, little snippets and pictures that they've saved and different things. But practically, when you're building on the Oregon coast, odds are your site is difficult, either very steep or something geological. And so when I sit down, the first thing I have to do is how do I get a car to the site and parked
When it drops
in a way
30
that it
feet.
can then leave? Like it's the most boring first problem.
Right.
But usually it drives the entire design.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing that we'll land on is quite often, as Dustin said, not what we talked about. So an ideal client can sit down, look through the problem with us, understand how we got there, and then instead of throwing up a wall of like, this isn't what we talked about,
Yeah.
takes a second
Got it.
and says, okay, this isn't what I expected. Like, let's circle back.
Sure.
Just taking the opportunity to like mull it through. Can you live with the change and the lack of what you anticipated? Or should we start again? Should we rethink?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the answer. Sometimes it's not.
But it takes trust for them to be able to tell you that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And here's why.
Yeah.
And if you are open to hearing that and to not only educating them as to why the change was made, but also to say it's because you said this and because we need this and because we're doing this. You know, I think one of my favorite things to hear from a client is, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. Exactly.
That right there
Yeah.
is why I'm in the room. That's
Yeah.
why I'm at the table.
Yep.
And I want you to not ever have thought of that. I want you to not have thought of most of the things we're gonna do for you in this process.
Yeah.
So it is that trust, for
100%.
sure.
Yeah, as my kids would say, just let me cook, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
an ideal client for you guys would be to let you cook. In other words, you be you and what you guys do best, but at the same time listening. So an ideal client, if I'm hearing you correctly, it will communicate what their needs are, but then they're willing to let you guys cook and be creative. And
love that.
they didn't come to you because you
Yeah.
built a 1,400 square foot gabled house that they've seen 500 of them, right?
Yeah,
They come
yeah,
to you
exactly.
because they've seen that you guys are really creative. You add unique design, color, shapes, and all kinds of cool stuff. So they're coming to you with ideas, but yet they want you to do it. What else? Maybe one more good one.
No, I think also like people that understand, like, and we try to do a really good job of this with our clients, just be like, there are going to be a lot of bumps along the road. Things will come up, you know, and they'll come up during the permitting process, they'll come up during design, they'll come up during construction. Like there will be issues. And so kind of like prepping our clients for that so that when it does come up, they don't panic. They don't feel like it's a critical flaw. They don't feel like their project's falling apart. I mean, how often, I think like for me, the biggest and most concerning part of all construction is excavation. The coast is hard. A lot of our sites, like we'll dig down and who knows what you'll find.
Right.
Like sometimes we found like cars, buried cars on sites.
That was
Oil
not
tanks.
ideal.
Oil tanks.
Yeah.
We did a project, remember, and we found an asphalt dumping area,
Yeah.
and all of 8 feet of asphalt had
Yeah.
to be pulled out.
Yeah.
And so prepping our clients for that a little bit, just being like, things are going to come up, and we, all of us, will collectively tackle these,
can
present
solve
other
it.
alternatives to you,
Yeah.
and then we'll all talk about the best way forward. But they're not, clients that don't panic, I guess.
Yeah.
And most of ours don't.
Yeah.
We rarely have clients that panic in those sort of situations. I think probably because they're kind of like expecting them, right? It's almost like we prep them enough that by the time it happens, they're like, oh yeah.
I was
we just
waiting
said
for
that.
another shoe to drop.
Yeah.
I got one more good
Okay,
one.
go for it.
Another characteristic of a client that is wonderful to work with is someone who's direct. If you don't like something, just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't have to worry about hurting our feelings. As I said, I'll put it in my back pocket. It's just the easiest thing to do is just be clear. And even if you end up changing your mind, like, oh, I'm not sure, that might be a little bit too much of an orange undertone, or I really don't like how tall the space is going to feel. Just however you're feeling, let's discuss it instead of protecting feelings.
Because
There's
the
no
worst
place for
thing that can happen is that the project is done, and 2 years from now, somebody says, I was with so-and-so in that house that you built for them, and man, did they bitch about that one thing.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No, like that's the last thing I want to have happen.
Yeah.
Please tell me so you don't get to this point at the end of the project where you're grumbling in the background because you didn't have the confidence in our relationship to come to me and say,
Right.
I'm not comfortable with this.
We'll do that with spouses too, like in
Yes.
that same vein. So there's always one spouse that's a little bit more dominant
Yeah.
in opinions and through the conversation.
Sometimes it changes through the project, or depending on where we are. But
Yeah.
But because
general.
like when we're sitting there speaking with them during a design review, I always try to like specifically pull out whoever is being more quiet, because usually the person that's more quiet is like having some trepidation,
Yeah.
that doesn't know how to say it. And so I'm like, are you concerned about this? Or like, hopefully you know your client well enough that you're like, hey, I know this is making you nervous.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about this area? Like, I know this is a little different. What do you think here? And, just like trying to give them like a safe space and then quietness to let them just express how they're feeling about it.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's so good.
And reminding them like, we do not take this personally.
Yeah.
Like Amanda said that earlier, like any design, if you don't like it, it's not bad design because we love our design, but that goes in the back pocket. Sure.
Yeah.
It's just not the right one for you.
yeah. What about you, Mike?
Yeah.
Mike's a good client.
I think it's a lot of what you guys said. I think a couple of things. Number one is that I want clients who are kind and who are patient and who offer a lot of grace to our team. Knowing that while we're really, really, really good at what we do as a team, we are human and we rely on other humans to be able to put their project together. And while we do our best to try to hire the best humans we can, we are flawed. But we really, the ideal client for me just completely puts their trust knowing that I have their back no matter what. And it's not a constant looking over my shoulder or kind of go doing one of these things. And maybe not like physically, but like in an email where they're just like, maybe in their mind, they thought it sounded nice, but it was kind of like a couple daggers that were being thrown. And that's why when I'm doing emails, I'm guilty of maybe a little bit of unprofessionalness where I do a lot of emojis. Because it's like, sometimes I have to say something hard, wink face or wink emoji, or thumbs up, or like,
Lest you be
this
accused
one,
of the
this is a really
digital
good one.
javelin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that the grace, the trust, knowing that we're going to do the absolute best that we can to get them the product. And frankly, we would rather die than to not, provide that service to them.
Yeah.
I think the flexibleness of their expectations and budgets, they need to be understanding that we will do our best to give them the best price that we can possibly think of, but we're creating something that's never been created before.
Yeah.
And while we have done this a long time and we can anticipate quite a few things, there's things that we just can't anticipate, or price changes, or we estimated something in January of this year, but we actually didn't install that till June of the following year or the next year.
Yeah.
And so sometimes things change, and while we try to get updated pricing, the market fluctuates. Some things just go up and down crazy. We have no control over that. So the flexibility
You do a
is
good
really
job of
critical.
that, though. You pre-purchase, like you always give the clients an opportunity. You'll say like, hey, I know the price on this is going to go up. Like, do you want to purchase it now? And sometimes maybe that comes with like a storage cost or whatever, but at least you let them know like, hey, we're seeing this climbing up. You want to buy it now?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do that as much as we can. And then I would say the final thing, and I don't know if this makes me weak or have something wrong with my personality, but I think the ideal client for me, I really love verbal praise. It's maybe one of my love languages. I don't need it for my ego.
Yeah.
I need it to make sure that I'm going down the right path. I'm honoring and serving and making my client happy. When they're spending millions of dollars, I never want a client to not have fun doing it. Who wants to spend millions of dollars and have it be a burden? That's dumb. Who wants to, hate buying a Lamborghini, right? That would be silly. So it's, for me, I love it when they're like, oh, great idea. Mike, I really appreciate your communication. Mike, I really appreciate how your team did this. Mike, I love that you are so transparent with how you provide the billing. We may not like the numbers, but at least we know the numbers. And everything is out in the open, and we know what to expect. And we know that there's a problem, that you're going to fix it, period. You're going to own it, and you're going to fix it, and you're going to make it right. So just kind of that verbal selfish praise, I think, for me,
I don't think it's selfish though. You like pour yourself into your projects, and I think we all do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like when you're so passionate about something, it is a personal. It becomes personal.
Yeah.
Like their houses become personal to you, and so you want them to be happy with what they're getting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amy.
I mean, echo all of that. I feel like for the interior design part of this, especially, I want the client to see the value in having me as part of their team. It is, sometimes it's a fight. And I've heard from builders and architects, gosh, I just don't even know how to bring it up that we really need to have you on the team. And I say, just tell them you really need to have me on the team.
We've done a better job of that. We've been guilty about that in the past. And we've been doing that with our clients like the last probably 6 months on our proposals, being like, we do not do interior design.
Right.
And we don't.
But helping them to understand what the difference is. Here's what we do, and here's what they do.
Right.
And we do different things.
Yeah. Sure.
But again, it's if you don't understand what an interior designer brings to the table, please ask.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy to share with you what that is. It is that it's a layer of interior. It's how the house lives. It's how it feels. It's how it smells at the end of the day. It's it's what the home is. It's what people see. You can create, and I'm sure you have created, gorgeous houses. But then the clients have made choices that nobody agreed with. I have this red chair analogy, and it's a little bit more around the furnishings piece of what we do, but it applies also to finishes and fixtures. If a client comes to me and says, we are absolutely using this red chair in the living room of this otherwise very neutral, very non-red house. And I will say, tell me about the chair and what it is you want to accomplish with the chair. And I will say, here's how the house will look with the chair. And here's how the house will look without the chair. And oftentimes the chair isn't about the chair. It's about them having control of something and feeling heard. Because I think interior design is known for the bulldoze, and that is never our intention, at least not mine. I want them to feel heard. I like to have the reveal at the end of the project and be able to say to the client, you did this. You made excellent choices. I brought you good things to choose from. And that's why I'm here. But you made all these choices. We made a lot of decisions for you, but at the end of the day, this is your home. And when they feel like they did it, and they take that pat on the back and they own it and it's their home, I did my job. I just got goosebumps.
I love it.
I feel like there's a great joke in here about how you also know some reupholsterers.
Yeah.
For the red chair.
Yes.
Somewhere in there.
There's always a way.
You could find that.
There's always a way, but I'm not putting that red chair in that living room. I'll just tell you right now.
How do you fight trends in interior design? Because I think, like for architecture, at least this is my opinion, but I think Amanda and I can like steer design away from trends. Like we're doing so many different projects right now that are under construction. I'm like, good luck pinning me to a trend. I feel like with interior design, like a lot of people, especially with like social media, a lot of people are playing the exact same song. And I'm like, how do you like resist and try to steer people like, yeah, that is really beautiful, but
maybe
that's
they
not your
want
house?
the same song.
Yeah, I know.
We have a project right now that is going to be the same song.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do my very best to make that song theirs.
Yeah.
So it's a cover.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same, but it's going to be the same stuff.
Analogy, yeah.
And that is just with presenting options.
Yeah.
If I don't want them to have Taj Mahal quartz countertops, I'm not going to bring them Taj Mahal quartz countertops.
Yeah,
I'm going to show them, because you like this look, this is soft and this is soft and this is maybe not quite as soft with a little more movement. Which one do you like?
Right. It's in their budget.
Yeah.
Right? Because Taj Mahal might not be in their budget.
Yeah, it's the cups.
Yeah,
Then if this, then this, or this.
Yeah.
And I take them down that path. But it's guiding it is presenting 3 options. You're doing the same. You're doing the same thing. Here's 3 kinds of siding. Here's 3 roof options. Here's 3 ways to lay this room out. Here's 3 ways to lay out this garage. We are there to present the right way to do it, and then encourage them to make a good choice. And if they make a bad choice, we help them understand what the consequences of that bad choice will be. If they put their foot down and say, that's my choice, we do everything we can to make that choice not the red chair in the room.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring in a little bit of red here and there to make that chair balance out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, there isn't a no. And I think that's what people think. They're going to come in and get a bunch of no's. There's going to be a bunch of rules and a bunch of here's how we're going to do it and here's this and we're not going to listen to you. I want my client to feel heard, and they can't tell me what they think if they haven't been given any information. So it's really educating, and it's guiding, and it's providing good things for them to choose from.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing a big trend on my Instagram surfing that there's this one guy that I follow, and he is just so ruthless, and a lot of his posts are about, don't ever do this or I will make fun of you. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And he does pictures or whatever. It's hilarious to me. But and then there's other ones that are very quiet about what they do, but most of what they do is very timeless. So it could be very specific, but it could be easily changeable through furnishings or decorations or whatever. But the form and the function of how things work is a lot more difficult to change. Furniture, colors, that kind of stuff can be changed 10 years down the road if they just get sick of it. Because most people don't even live in their home for 10 years, at least on average. And so making things more timeless, I've seen is more of the trend now, right? Don't be trendy, be timeless.
Absolutely.
Do you feel that?
Always encourage that for sure. And again, having the conversation about natural materials, I think there was I know there was like 15 excruciating years of gray and white and blue. And if I get asked to do that again, which we're doing that again, but there's a way to steer them away from a mistake. And when people go in and build their Pinterest board or put together their house idea book, I love to see that. Even if it's to remind them that this room right here probably started 5 years ago. For it to have been conceived and built and designed and furnished and photographed, this is old. We don't do this anymore. And that doesn't occur to people. They're like, ooh, new, fancy. Or that's AI. We can't build that for you. So again, it's like, I want to know why do you like that quartzite?
Right. I think some of trendiness as well is the combination. I think sometimes we'll have clients come to us and say, well, we don't want to do any, exposed beams because we don't want it to feel like a rustic lodge, as an example.
It's like you can have beams without being rustic.
Those two things are mutually exclusive.
Right.
Depending on the other choices and the other materials, it could swing lodgy. That's a word, just so you know.
Lodgy.
But it doesn't have to. It's the combination of things that can make it like, oh, wow, that was built in 2019. I remember. I was there. My Pinterest was full of it. And I don't think anybody really wants that. If you're building a home, you want it to be yours. You want it to be more about you than your board. And I think that people see that and they can pull pieces that they've seen that are trends from different times.
And encouraging them to do different things. Showing them things that are a little more edgy or a little more colorful or something that they haven't presented to you. And because then when they say, oh my God, yes, I never would have thought of that. It is our job to bring the best that they can afford, the best that the house can hold. It's our job to bring that to the table. And that's why we go to market. That's why we travel to understand what's like. I'm going to Spain to see where countertops are born. I want to know. Because my client's not going to go to Spain and understand where those countertops are born, I'm going to go do that. And then I get to bring to them things that they had never thought about, things they weren't educated on, they hadn't heard of. And because things are changing every day, it is our job as professionals in this industry to understand what those things are that we're bringing to the table.
I just appreciate the fact that you're willing to suffer for your clients to go to Spain. It's so unselfish of you. I just think it's wonderful. That's
the field trip that you should go on.
That is a field trip.
I told you could go with us.
Because I think you're hitting Portugal too, aren't you?
There's a little, you gotta have a balance, work,
little
life.
steps over there.
There's some beautiful tile coming out of Portugal right now, unrelated.
So I'm just there to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I think one of the important things, obviously I was teasing you, but you guys have taken trips to Europe and other parts of the country. I've taken trips. We really love what we do. We love the details. We love the building science. We love the products. We love to understand where it comes from. But a lot of the times we're developing relationships with people who not only provide a product, but who are providing a level of service and consistency and loyalty that we love. So for example, whether it be like LuxView windows. Yes, we've gone to see their plants in Nashville and Salt Lake. And their windows are amazing, but it's not just the windows, it's the people behind that, right? It's Rex and it's
The relationships.
And it's really important, whether it's Innotek windows or it could be this Emser tile or it could be whatever it might be. It's not just product, but we're choosing products and relations, the whole package.
And it's efficiency. Because if you're paying me by the hour and I have to go do a bunch of homework to be able to bring you what you need, I've done that homework and I can apply it to a lot of different clients. And you don't have to necessarily be the one paying for that hour of my education. I do feel like we are only as good as the people that we work with in the background. And where we can blame them for all the things that go wrong in our conversation, it's us. My name is on that tile. My name is on that countertop. Your name is on those windows. It's not the manufacturer. To our client, we built this house. And we have to be confident enough in the recommendations we're making. And that means a lot to us. And for them to understand that what we're bringing to the table is information and experience and relationships. And if we can't build those, it comes down to who we are as people too. This is a people business. We're building homes. I make your bed. We're pretty tight. I know your dog, I understand your kids.
Know the dogs.
It's very important that we're able to operate as humans together.
For sure.
And I think that we like each other. That's what makes this work first and foremost. And then there's respect, and then there's experience, and then there's collaboration.
I'm always such a skeptic of like new products. So Amanda and I feel like our whole reputation is based on understanding the Oregon coast, understanding like wind-driven rain. I think we're one of the most challenging climates in the country for construction.
Absolutely.
And because of that, like every single time I was thinking about when I was in Nashville visiting LuxView and Rex, we talked to his engineer and we're just like drilling him with questions. The poor guy's trying to eat lunch with us, and Amanda and I like, so exactly how does this weep hole work? Like how do you flash this right here? Like just diving into it based on what we know works on the coast. Like, will this hold up? And like, sure enough, it does. But that part's always like a little bit nerve wracking for me. Anytime Amanda and I, like we've done personal projects before and I'm like, hey, this is something that you and I are building for us. Like, we can take a bunch of risks because we're ready for disappointment. Like on our clients' houses, I'm like, I never want to take any risk. I don't want to like try any new product.
For example, the green roof. Lots of clients will come and like, can we do a green roof on the coast? I think so. Right? Like I know how to detail that, but do I want to do it with your money? No. So wait until mine's done. And it's there for a year and it doesn't leak. And then we can do it on yours.
And sometimes there are the clients that send Pinterest things or whatever, like you said, AI things. It's like, well, you have to have a railing in the stairs. And in Europe, they don't care if you fall over. But here we do, and we have restrictions. But in terms of products, we do experience new products all the time. And so it's really important for all of us to kind of understand the performance, the ability to get it, the ability to warranty it, the ability to install it, and we maintain it. We do all of those. We talk about all of those things. It's like, oh, that's pretty. Let's put it in. It's not that. That's one component, but it's not. It's not the whole thing. It's a start. Ooh, that's really glittery. So I love new products. I love researching new things. I love creating new relationships, even if it's a new product. But I can trust the relationship that if something goes wrong, that person is going to take care of it. I think that's so critical. Even if it's new, it's still worthy of talking about and exploring.
Serviceability, I think, is so important. And that's, you and I will both get calls so often after a project's done. Like, it's like, hey, this is making a noise, or hey, this is doing this. All right, like, need to have them come out and adjust it.
Right.
And that's the part they remember. Like there is 100% of a project, and the only part they remember is the last 10%. And that's the hardest part of any project is the last 10%.
Yeah.
And the way we handle that last 10% and beyond is what they remember. And I always encourage people to, when I've just met somebody, like call my references. Like
That's
here's,
what we
here's
say
a whole
too.
page.
Yeah.
I know. I'm always like,
Please call them and
Yeah.
ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
And get your, just like, I've had a guy on the phone for an hour and a half with a former client of mine, like really asking the tough questions. And he said, I talked to 6 people yesterday about you.
They should always call.
Thank you.
Yeah, they should
Yes.
always call them.
Now tell me
Yeah.
if you still have any questions.
Because you're working through that process and they've already done it.
Yeah.
They see the value. And our challenge is always to convey a value that you're going to give to someone for 2 years or more over a 10-minute call.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice to meet you. Tell me about your project. Like, it's such a hard challenge.
And it allows your references to be a little bit honest without worrying about hurting your feelings or the client. It's like, so Amy, they don't have to worry about, like,
Yeah,
for
I
example.
can sell me all day.
You can sell it, right.
But
for example, is
somebody
Dustin a
else-
good communicator?
Yeah.
And their clients are going to go, he's a ridiculous communicator. Like, he has like a serious
How many
problem.
emails you're about to receive?
Yeah. But I tell you what, 5 years from now, I can say, hey, Dustin, can you pull up this?
Yes.
He is like a chat GPT when it comes to how he
We
organizes.
were talking earlier about
it's
our email
crazy.
hoarding thing that we have in
He's
common.
got this little algorithm system that he created that's ridiculous. So, but they're able to say those kinds of things without you having to sell yourself or you having to sell yourself or us having to sell ourselves. They're able to be open and honest. And hopefully they can also talk about
The bad.
Yeah, Mike
some things didn't work
Mike
out.
didn't come through on this particular one. But you know what he did do?
Yeah.
Right.
When
so,
this happened, this is how they handled it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that right there, that's it. You can't
And
get
those are
any
actually
better.
more important probably than
Absolutely.
anything else.
Yeah.
Like when, we'll be working through design and something will happen or a client will be like, hey, remember we talked about this and you missed that. And that's always something that like Amanda and I, like so many people try to get defensive. And my gut reaction is like, oh my gosh, we did. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And I think like for you, I think if you just like approach a problem like that,
Yeah.
it's such a like smoother process with your clients where you're like, oh shoot, I'm sorry.
That's
Like,
right.
I should have picked that up.
Where
I'm
should
really
that
sorry about
go?
that.
humble.
Yeah.
We're humble and we understand
Yeah.
that we make mistakes and
Yeah.
kind of talked about that earlier.
Well, and I told Mike, he's like, what kind of projects do you want to work on? And I think I said, I want to work with nice people.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a 800 square foot cabin in the woods somewhere.
That sounds fun.
Right. With the right client.
Totally. Yeah.
With a client who sees us the way that we need to be seen and who understands what this relationship's going to be like. They can't trust you right out of the gate.
No.
We can't expect that. But what we have to do is present enough information and enough scenario and enough,
Example.
human storyline so they feel comfortable enough to pull the trigger.
How do you build the trust? Like with your
That
clients?
too, I think
Clearly
is-
via
it's-
email.
I mean,
It's
for-
important to have them talk to references. I think that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
But again, ask me questions, and I'm going to ask you questions. It's going to happen in that initial conversation. It's a pretty long conversation.
Yeah.
But I think you can tell.
When we
from the
first
beginning.
get hired, I always feel like, I'm like, gosh, I don't even feel close to them yet. It's weird, like how I feel about our clients, because I'm like, gosh, it's new. Like I don't even feel like I know them that well. And then I think, I always try to do, like I tell our clients, they're like, oh, how should I get a hold of you? I'm like, email, text message, phone calls,
Right.
pretty much anytime.
Yeah.
And because like most of our clients work all day long.
Yeah. Right.
And then they're done with work at 5:30 and they go, hey, I want to check in on my project. And so like to our family's demise, sometimes we sit there on the phone for like 2 hours with clients getting to know them. And I feel like that's the process where like as you're working through the design, it's not so much like the product you're delivering, but that communication process.
Yeah.
Like getting to know people. And that also helps with like what you were talking about earlier, like making sure that people feel comfortable enough saying, like, I feel like all of our clients could call us and be like, Dustin, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And they're not worried about how I feel because they've talked to me enough on the phone.
Right.
They feel like they know me enough, right? I'd like to think we're like friends where they could just say,
Dustin,
hey, too bad.
Please rein Amanda in. She's going to be very upset.
Exactly, yeah.
Can I talk to you privately?
Yeah.
Can you take us off speaker?
Right.
Well,
You always say it's Dustin and it's Amanda in the car too. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always now I can't complain about Amanda.
Well, she's our creative director too, and so like Amanda will do like largely the big picture design elements. And so when like I'll be on a job site or with our clients and Mike or and we're making decisions, and I feel like I've like made some good compromise, and I drive away and I'm like, great, now I need to call Amanda and convince her this was a good idea.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. You guys come up with these great ideas that you thought was great, and then I have to go, great, now I have to go talk to Rick and explain to Rick how I wanted to tear this off and start over again, and I'm the one who gets to be the bad guy. But it's great. We love all of this, and we love being able to create a cool project. We understand that sometimes the sausage making is ugly and gross, but it's just part of the process, right?
Yeah.
So
I think the best
Boring.
designed solutions come from a significant problem.
Yeah, the constraints.
If you give me a flat site
A
with no
constraint.
limits,
A constraint.
yeah.
I don't
Give
even
me
know.
some
Like,
boundaries.
I'm treading water.
Yeah.
Like I need something to solve.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's why
I can't
we do what we
shine
do.
for you unless you tell me what shining means to you.
Yeah.
You know, don't say whatever you think.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Now I'm scared. You know,
I need a
some
dark room to
boundaries.
shine.
I need you to tell me like I like A and I like G and the H.
Yeah.
sure.
And then I'm like, oh, watch me cook.
Yeah.
You know?
That's part of the thing too, is there's a difference between a custom-minded professional and a business-minded professional that is really just about pumping out product, right?
Yeah.
So like a spec builder
Yeah.
who just has a subdivision and their job is to get this many units built by this time so they can sell it, meet the pro forma, whether it's a national that has to, speak to shareholders, or whether it's another builder, it's got to, obviously keep the big machine fed. It's more of a product and more of a process versus a relationship, and we're creating something new, and that is a different flavor of ice cream that some people just won't.
Yeah.
They won't taste.
Yeah.
They don't want that. They want the consistency. They want to do this. And we thrive in the customer. We thrive on challenge. We thrive on uniqueness and
brainstorming.
problems.
How are we gonna do
if you will,
this?
brainstorming and coming up with solutions. And like you mentioned it earlier with the client who had kind of this real interesting idea about this first entry room. And I remember you called me and you're like, Mike, I'm just pulling out my hair. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk through some ideas. And then we got on the Zoom, all of us together with the client, and we just presented it in the most kind and creative way. And the clients were like, why didn't I think of that, right? Says, I'm so glad you thought of that. And actually, this is going to be better now because we'll do this and we'll do that. And that process, when we're all part of it, is just, it's magic. It really
And
is.
the client is a huge part of it.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not in a vacuum doing this at all. The client
100%.
is the orchestrator of the whole thing, and we just have to play our horns in the right order.
Yeah.
And I just, that's why we like nice people.
Yeah.
We have to talk to these people all the time.
Yeah.
We have to understand their communication style. I mean, the talent of reading the room is what makes us successful. Anybody can be an architect and anybody can be a builder, but to be able to relate to your client and really have them feel welcome at the table, that's always the goal. And I've said it before, to have the client feel heard and not just be at the mercy of their design team and build team, it's so important to have them feel part of the process.
I always joke, I always tell our clients, like, your fingerprints are all over this design.
Yeah.
It is like they're always providing, feedback and direction that shape it as it evolves.
And it's no fun if it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no fun if it's not.
And if I take my three-legged stool analogy to kind of to the next level.
Okay.
What is a three-legged stool? Can you remind me, Mike?
Yeah. Nice. Good segue.
What a great
Thank you for asking. No, it's that the client is actually, standing on the stool. They're lifted, they're elevated, they're front and
boss.
center. They're the boss,
yeah.
but they're standing on a stable platform.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's so important. The client is part of this. They're not over here.
Yeah.
They're an intricate part of it. Like the stool is great, but if we don't have a client, then the stool just sits there not being used for what its purpose is. So that client being part of that four-legged stool, let's say, or three-legged with the statue, is so critical.
Yep.
And that's, to your point, like, you have to let clients make those decisions too. I think, and know as a designer, it's their project. Like Amanda and I, early on did a house and it has no dining room. And when I say no dining room, I said there's no place for a table anywhere. There is a kitchen and a living room, and that's it. And it was great. Our clients are lovely people, absolutely fantastic. I had talked through resale value. They were like, we're going to live in this house till we die. We don't care about that. I'm like, okay. I was like, what if you have guests over? And they're like, we only entertain here. We'll never be at this house ever for entertaining. I was like, okay. I like work through, my things that I'm going to think are going to convince them to change it. And at the end of the day, finally, man and I looked at each other. We're like, this is a point of a custom house.
Yeah.
Like they don't need a place for a table.
Yep.
They're not going to have a table.
Yeah.
Unless there's a structural or code-oriented violation, you build what you want.
Yeah.
The dining room code.
Yeah. But it's important
There's
that
not
In the dining room code.
there's not a code. But it's important that they understand that they can be firm on their decisions, and it's our job to say, are you sure? Because they may not even be thinking about resale or entertaining or some of the other examples that you gave, and it's our job to kind of just politely and respectfully say, hey, have you thought about this, or what about this? Ultimately, we're trying to get them the best product and the best service.
And if they've thought of those things, they'll be excited that they've thought of it. They'll be like, but if they haven't, and I never would have thought of that moment, and that's why we're there.
Yep.
Well, guys, I really appreciate this time together where we could just kind of get together, and we do this already, but we don't really do it in this format. We do it on Zoom, we do it on phones, but ultimately we're friends, we're professionals, and really we are a really great team. I think one of the best in the business, in my opinion. And we are really doing a service to our clients, and I just appreciate your time to invest in this.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.